بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Before we begin, inshallah, these first 3 minutes or 2 minutes, I would like to just take this opportunity out to remind you brothers of 3 issues, inshallah, very quickly. The first one is, if you were to ask the average Muslim about the wajib prayers in Islam, most people want to say they are the 5 prayers that we do during the course of the day, and no doubt they are the most wajib from the wajib prayers. But also, Salat al-Jummah is wajib, and Salat al-Eid is wajib as well. So we have more than 5 prayers that are wajib. Another prayer that is wajib, that many people don't know is wajib, is the 2 rak'ahs that you have to pray when you come into the masjid. No matter how big it is, no matter how small it is, if you know the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, إِذَا دَخَلَ أَحَدُكُمْ الْمَسْجِدَ فَلَا يَجْلِسْ حَتَّى يُصَلِّيَ رَكَعَتَيْنِ. He said, if any of you Muslims, if you're a Muslim, he said, if you enter into a masjid, then do not sit down until you pray 2 rak'ahs. So when you come into a masjid, even if it's after Salat al-Asr, even if it's after the sun goes up or the sun is going up or it's going down, if you come in at a time where the prayer shouldn't be done, like when the sun is going up or the sun is setting, then don't pray while that's happening. Just stay standing up. Once it goes up, then you pray 2 rak'ahs. Once it goes down, then you pray 2 rak'ahs. So I'm mentioning that, ikhwani, so that I, inshallah, can get the reward of spreading the sunnah and reminding some people who may have forgot, or informing some people who didn't know. One of the wajib prayers in al-Islam is, when you come inside of any masjid, you should pray 2 rak'ahs. If you came into the masjid and you know that, when you sit down, you are actually, and you know about that, you are going against what the Prophet ﷺ came with in terms of instruction. So again, I want to remind this community, again, إِذَا دَخَلَ أَحَدُكُمُ الْمَسْجِدَ فَلَا يَجْلِسْ حَتَّى يُصَلِّيَ رَكَعَتَيْنِ. If any of you go into a masjid, enter into a masjid, then don't sit down until you pray 2 rak'ahs. One time the Prophet ﷺ was giving the khutbah of Friday, and a man by the name of Sulaik, a companion, his name is Sulaik, he came in while the Prophet was giving the khutbah ﷺ, and the man sat down. Rasulullah said, hey Sulaik, did you pray 2 rak'ahs? And that's a proof that Rasulullah is not hazir nazir. It's a proof that he doesn't know the ilm al-ghayb. He was actually there. He was there. He said, Sulaik, did you pray 2 rak'ah? Sulaik said, no. He said, Qum musalliha wa tajawwaz fiha. Then get up right now and pray them right now and make them short. So Sulaik got up in front of all the people and he prayed those 2 rak'ah. So if you're a person who you didn't know this ruling, for an example, you didn't know, don't be shy. Don't be shy to get up. I mean, it's on you, but whether it's this masjid or any other masjid, you should pray those 2 rak'ah. Second thing that I want to mention to you, brothers, in the way again of trying to spread the sunnah and trying to make the people aware of the sunnah, because maybe you didn't know, is that when the Prophet used to pray, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to always put in front of him a sutra, something that would prevent other people from walking in front of him while he was praying. And he never, ever prayed, ever, one time, he never prayed, ever, not in his house, not in his masjid, not in the middle of the desert. He never, ever prayed, except he used to always have something in front of him as a sutra. So there are some hadith that he told us, إِذَا صَلَّى أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيُصَلِّ إِلَى السُّتْرَةِ. If one of you prays, then let him put something in front of him. He commanded that. Other hadith he said, لا يصلين أحدكم إلا إلى السترة. None of you should ever pray except that you have a sutra in front of you. And the way he showed us, his actions, he never abandoned it. If he was in the middle of the desert and he wanted to pray, he would make his camel sit down, his camel, and he would pray, and his camel would be in front of him. Umar radiallahu anhu, during the time he was the Khalifa, you can imagine some of us are really busy with our jobs, our dunyas, we're quite busy. Umar being the Khalifa, he was extremely busy, crazy, extremely busy. After praying, he was leaving the masjid. He saw a man praying in the middle of the masjid with no sutra. Umar radiallahu anhu sat in front of that man with his back to the man facing the Qibla. After the man finished his prayer, Umar turned towards the man and he said to the man, radiallahu anhu, he said, the Prophet used to command that you pray with a sutra. He used to prohibit you from praying without a sutra, and he himself used to do the sutra. So don't let someone come and say, sutra. The Muslims in Kashmir and Iraq, don't be of those people. Because if we can't take care of what people perceive as being the small things, then how are we going to take care of those big issues? And another thing is, this is something that is within the ability of a person to do. And again, as I mentioned, we're just trying to spread the sunnah of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Last thing and the final thing, as I understand, inshallah, this masjid now is starting to kickstart the activities once again in the masjid. And this is something that causes the hearts to become sakina with sakina, because we want to bring life back to the masjid, make the masjid what it has been legislated to be. It's first and foremost the place of the sajda. It's the masjid, the place of prayer, salah. But it's also the place of reminding each other of the dhikr of Allah. It's the place of strengthening our brotherhood. It's the place of leaving that dunya out there and coming to a place where an individual is trying to focus on remembering what he was created for, and so forth and so on. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to bless all of the brothers who have something to do with this lofty objective of trying to get these classes going again. But I want to remind you, brothers, once the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was traveling with his companions and they became tired, he became tired. Like every human being becomes tired. And so he decided to stop at a particular place, and when he stopped, he told his companions, everyone take a rest here. So some of the people went over there, some went over there, some went over there, and they all chose different places to rest. When he looked out and he saw the people all over the place, he said to his companions, Mali arakum izin, inna tafarruqukum fi hadhihi shi'ab, innama dhalika min ash-shaytan. He said, why is it that I see you people all over the place? Some people over there, some over there, some over there. He said, this division of yours is from the shaitan. So the companions, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they came together. They said after that hadith and after that instruction of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they never came to the masjid or to listen to his kalam, except that they came close to one another. Those scholars who wrote about unity in Islam, unity based upon the Quran and the Sunnah, not unity based upon empty slogans. I mean, someone can really get on the minbar and give a really nice talk, inspiring talk, very fiery talk about the importance of unity. They can do that. But there's some basic things that the Prophet showed us in his practical sunnah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that bring about unity. And one of them is that when we come together and talk like this, today, inshallah, the subsequent talks that are going to be given in this masjid or any other masjid, then it is not, ikhwan, is not from the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the people to sit far away. So those brothers who are sitting on the walls, it's just a request, not to put anyone out. I ask you brothers to come close to your brothers, inshallah, azza wa jal, if you can do that. And don't think that I'm pointing you out. Maybe you didn't know. And in terms of sitting close, ikhwani, especially on the day of Friday, don't be an individual who on the day of Friday, when you come into the masjid, you sit in the last row, you sit on the wall. Don't be like that. Because from the etiquettes of Friday Jummah, from the etiquettes of that Friday Jummah, if you want to get and you want to maximize the rewards of the Jummah, the Prophet says also, the one who takes a ghusl, he causes someone else to take a ghusl, he puts on perfume, he puts on nice clothes, he comes to the masjid. Every right step is a hasan written, every left step is a bad deed taken off. When he comes into the masjid and he gets close to the imam and he doesn't break the shoulders of two people sitting there, if he did all of those things every week when he came to the masjid on Friday, he's going to get a lot of rewards. A lot of rewards. So before we start our lesson, I just wanted to remind you, brothers, of those three things, and all of them go show and prove the importance of us being people who take the time out of our extremely busy schedules to try to get some basic knowledge of our religion. The etiquettes of the masjid. There are many etiquettes in the masjid. Many do's and don'ts. What to do, what not to do. A lot of people don't know those etiquettes. The etiquettes of Friday. A lot of do's, a lot of don'ts. The etiquettes of prayer. Very first thing Allah is going to question you about Yawm al-Qiyamah is that prayer. So that in of itself shows that it's important. So we only mention those things not to expose anyone or not to put anyone out, but again, just to spread the sunnah. And I ask Allah to make us from the Ansar of the Sunnah, Yawm al-Qiyamah, give us the reward of being from the Ansar of the Sunnah. And if we can't be of the people who are saying it, at least the people who are doing it, and also to be of the people who love the Ansar of the Sunnah, starting with the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahib al-Sunnah himself, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Before I begin my talk, last thing I have to mention, I just want to acknowledge the presence of my Lala, my main man here, Sheikh Shabab. Shabab can never come into a place except that it lights up, and the first thing that lights up is my heart. And I don't mean Sufi light up, I'm just saying in terms of love, So welcome, Lala Shabab. Ikhwani, now as you all know, we are getting close to the blessed month of Ramadan, and I'm sure that some of you have been exposed to different talks and different instructions in preparation for Ramadan. I don't really want to deal with the fiqh of Ramadan as such in this talk. Maybe during the Q&A session, we can deal with some ahkam of Ramadan if people have questions. Maybe during that time, no problem. But I want to deal with the Ramadan from another angle, inshallah, just to shed light on something, to really remind you of some issues. And before doing that, I just want to let something be the backdrop, and that is what the Nabi said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, about the Jannah. And we're all in a path and a struggle trying to aspire to enter into the Jannah. May Allah put us all in the Jannah al-Firdaus and put us in there without any adab, without any hisab, not even asking us any questions, because He is qadirun ala dhalika. And may He Ta'ala allow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to be a intercessor for us Yawm al-Qiyamah, so that we're not punished at all. Concerning the Jannah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, "Inna fil jannati ma la 'aynun ra'at, wa la udhun sami'at, wa la khatara 'ala bali bashar." Inside of the Jannah is what no eyes have ever seen. And inside of the Jannah is what no ears of a human being has ever heard. The eyes or the ears of even the malaika, Allah put in that Jannah what no eyes have ever seen and what no ears have ever heard. And in that Jannah is what He said, even the human being hasn't even contemplated it. So that goes to show that the Jannah is something that is special, is different, it's on another level. And it's been described in many ayat of the Quran and many ahadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This Quran that we read, if someone said, "Can you give me 20 descriptions of al-Jannah, what's in the Jannah?" There are hundreds of descriptions of the Jannah, different things that have been prepared for the people of the Jannah. So in that Jannah, special things. Allah Ta'ala mentioned from those things, Allah. He said, تبارك وتعالى وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار كلما رزق منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأتوا به متشابها وَأُتُوا بِهِ مُتَشَابِهًا وَلَهُمْ فِيهَا أَزْوَاجٌ مُطَهَّرَةٌ وَهُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. In that Jannah, you should give glad tidings, Ya Muhammad, and tell those people who believe and do righteous deeds that Allah Azza wa Jal has prepared for them Jannat, under which rivers flow. Every time they are given something in that Jannah from the thamara of the Jannah, they say, this is something that we used to have similar to it back in the dunya. And we will give them these things, and there are some similarities. And from the similarities inside of that Jannah are the Huru'een. They will have some wives who are pure, and they will remain in that Jannah forever. The tafsir of this ayah is expensive. The Huru'een and the things that are in the Jannah that are similar to what was in the dunya, like the khamr, the sharab. But the sharab or the khamr of the Jannah is not like the khamr here. When you drink it, you don't get drunk. Like the leban, the milk of this dunya, they have milk in the Jannah, but it doesn't go rotten, it doesn't spoil. The water that's in the Jannah and the springs in the Jannah, they have springs here, but the springs are there different. Those people from this ummah who have to go into the hellfire, may Allah protect us from that, some of them will be put in the hellfire. And then Rasulullah will get involved, and he'll make one of his 6 types of intercession. He'll get involved, and he'll ask Allah to get them out. They're in the hellfire, and they deserve to burn more, but he'll get involved because they were from the Ansar of the Sunnah, because they used to make the dua after the adhan. He said, anyone who makes the dua after the adhan, I'll give him my shafa'ah. Because he used to say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or whatever commitment he used to do, whatever. That Nabi will get involved, and Allah Ta'ala will take them out of that hellfire after they were burned to a crisp for what they did, and for what they didn't do. And then they will be put in one of the springs of the Jannah, and then they're going to sprout, and they're going to come back to life in a way that was better than what they used to be. So that particular spring of the Jannah, it's not like the springs that the people go to get in, like in Jordan and other than that, where they call it the spring of life, where it may have some medicinal value, but it's not like that spring. So there are some similarities, but they're not the same. From what Allah Ta'ala mentioned about that Jannah, and this is just the backdrop of what we want to talk about, inshallah. He said, لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب مرفوعة. He said, in that Jannah, there are not going to be any vain speech. And that Jannah is going to be rivers that are going to be constantly moving, going back and forth all over that place. In that Jannah, they're going to have chairs and couches in which they're going to be reclining on, and they're high and they're elevated, making it easy that the person, when he wants to sit down, there will be no efforts to sit down. If he wants to eat, whatever he wants, everything is real easy for him. He doesn't have to move too much. So in those ayat from Surah Al-A'la, some of what Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned. إن الأبرار يشربون من كأس كان مزاجها كافورا عينا يشرب بها عباد الله يفجرونها تفجيرا. He said that the abrar, the people have a bir, the righteous people, they would drink from a vessel in al-Jannah called kafur. It has kafur. A lot of ikhtilaf, what is that kafur? Point is not what it is exactly, but it's there. He said they will get vessels to drink from that kafur, and everyone would have his decree. He's going to have 1,000,000 vessels to drink from that. He's going to have whatever. So there are many issues. One of the things that we want to talk about concerning the Jannah, Ikhwani, is something that's been prepared in the Jannah specifically for people who fast in the month of Ramadan. Certain things that are done in the month of Ramadan that put a person in position to get the reward of some of the tremendous issues that are in the Jannah. That's what I want to come to remind you of. To keep this in your mind. And they're simple, basic issues. And I want to right now, as the ayah said, everyone here, he has his particular thing that he's good at. That brother over here, he's in the first row for all of the prayers, and he's on the right side of the Imam, even for the khutbah al-Jum'ah. And that one over there, he may Hajj 6, 7, 8 times, and Umrah 6, 7, 8 times. And that one over there, he has good and bitter walidain. He's better than everyone else. And that one over there, he's the best parent, the best husband. He's committed, dedicated to his children, better than everyone else. Or to his wife. He's the best one to his wife. And that one over there, he gives a lot of sadaqah. And then there are those people who are the fastest from amongst our community. They just don't wait until the month of Ramadan, but they fast, and they find fasting easy, and they like fasting. So everyone has his own role, as Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in that ayah, everyone. The person who fasting is not his main thing, it's not his forte. Still, if you do the basics of Ramadan, the basic etiquette of the Sunnah of Ramadan, you will position yourself to get these special rewards in the Jannah. Special. And they're what the Prophet described, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as some special rooms. In addition to the houses that the people will have in the Jannah, there are some special rooms that people who fast will be given, and want to share that with you. One of the ayat of the Quran talks about these rooms. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لنبوينهم من الجنة غرفا تجري من تحت الأنهار خالدين فيها أبدا نعم أجر العاملين. Verily, those people who believe and they do righteous deeds, we have prepared for them from the Jannah some special rooms. Under these rooms there are rivers flowing. They will be in those rooms forever. And this is a ni'mah reward for the people who do the works. And another ayat talking about those rooms, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran, لَكِنَّ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا رَبَّهُمْ لَهُمْ غُرُفٌ مَبْنِيَّةٌ لَهُمْ غُرُفٌ فَوْقَهَا غُرُفٌ مَبْنِيَّةٌ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ وَعْدُ اللَّهِ لَا يُخْلِفُ اللَّهُ الْمِيعَادَ. Those people have the taqwa of their Lord. He has prepared for them rooms that are on top of other rooms, and those rooms are strong in the way that they have been built on top of each other. Under those rooms, rivers flow. And this is the promise of Allah for those individuals, and Allah doesn't break His promise. So, as you can see, those rooms are in addition to the Jannah. Many things have been mentioned about those rooms. The Nabi used to tell his companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many things about their environment, so that they can appreciate certain things. He said, Yawm al-Qiyamah, you people are going to see your Lord. The same way you see the moon on the full night, the 15th of the month, the Badr moon. He said, when you see that moon and there are no clouds in the sky, and there's no doubt that that is the clear moon, that's the moon, he said, you're going to see Allah that way, meaning the clarity. The clarity. So he took the environment so as to help them to understand something. He said the virtues of the scholar over the one who worships is like the virtues of a full moon. Many things in their environment. He said the one who gives a gift to someone, he gives a gift to someone, and then he says, give me that gift back, and he takes it back. He's like a dog who licks up his vomit, because he knows that the Arabs know if a dog vomits, he's going to get up and he's going to lick that vomit up. So you don't have to worry about the carpet or wherever it happened. Just sit there. That dog, his fitra, his nature, is he's going to lick it up clean. That's how he is. So that's the environment that they were in. So when the companions look at that, they say, oh, who wants to be like a dog who licks up his own vomit? So don't give a gift and take it back. Don't give a gift, your wife's dowry or something, and then you take it back. You buy your kids something, and then you take it back. Similar to that is these rooms. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about those rooms that the people, when they're in the Jannah, if you were to look in this earth and you looked in the sky and you see the planet or the star twinkling in the distance, he said that's how those rooms are going to be. The person is going to be in the Jannah and he's going to see all of those rooms all over the place, and they're going to be illuminating the atmosphere, and in and of itself is going to be a reward, just something to behold. Not to mention what's inside of it. Not to mention who's going to be the occupant of the room. So a number of things have been mentioned. Those who believe and they do righteous works, those people who have the taqwa of their Lord, It is not like Ahlul Kitab are saying, those Jews and those Christians, they are making mere claims. If you believe that Jesus died for your sins, then you're going to go to paradise and you're going to get this, you're going to get that. That's just a mere claim. They're lying. They changed the religion of Isa. They changed the religion of Musa. They introduced innovation in their religion. Allah mentioned from the innovation of the Jews and the Christians, رَهْبَانِيَةً ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَاهَا عَلَيْهِمْ. They introduced some aestheticism where you live in some monastery and you don't get married. Allah said that's an innovation. Allah didn't reveal that to them. Allah didn't legislate that for them. But they make many claims. We're going to be in the Jannah, we're going to be in the Jannah, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. Just as Bani Israel made a lot of claims, Ahlul Kitab made a lot of claims, our Ummah should know we can't make claims. Those rooms are not for the one who's just sitting down talking about, I'm with the best Ummah, I'm a Muslim, that's it. It's not like that. I fast the month of Ramadan and that's it. It's not like that. There are some conditions, things that have to be done in order to get those rooms. As it was mentioned, they have to have Iman, the proper Iman. Not making shirk with Allah in any shape, form, or fashion. He excommunicates himself and puts himself out of the box, out of the loop, to get the Jannah if he's making a partner with Allah in any shape, form, or fashion. If he said that the Prophet ﷺ was Hazir, Nazir, Rasulullah ﷺ never died, Rasulullah ﷺ has the ilm al-ghayb, if he said that and he believed that, he excommunicates himself and he puts himself out of the ability to get those rooms, to go into Jannah. And Rasulullah is going to free himself from that individual Yawm al-Qiyamah. He's going to free himself. Instead of making intercession for him to get him out of the hellfire, instead of making intercession for him to prevent him from going into the hellfire, Rasulullah is going to say, I'm free from that individual. I'm free from him. Don't let him drink from my fountain. Get him away. Get him away from my fountain. So it's not mere claims for anyone here. And in those examples that I said, Hazir, Nazir, Ilm al-Ghayb, he never died, I don't mean to be taking punches at any individual here. I'm saying in general, it's not just that person. It's Abu Usamah, it's everybody here. It is not lip professing that will get the people the reward of the Jannah. I want to be on the Sunnah, I just can't lip profess. When I'm by myself, I have to do the right thing. Everybody, that's our responsibility. So concerning those issues of just mere claims, just want to share with you real quick before dealing, inshallah, with those issues that we want to encourage you with. Allah mentioned in the Quran, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيِّكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِيِّ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. This religion, the haqq, is not based upon, he said about this ummah, it's not based upon your wishful thinking. What's right is what you wishfully think. What I wishfully think. It's not what's right or wrong. It's not what you wish, what you think. Nor is it what Ahlul Kitab, what they say. Another ayah, he described Ahlul Kitab. وَمِنْهُمْ أُمِّيُّونَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ الْكِتَابَ إِلَّا أَمَانِيَّ وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَظُنُّونَ. From the illiterate people, Allah called them illiterate, are those people who don't know the religion. They have nothing but wishful thinking. So we don't want to be of the people who just wish Prophet Muhammad is going to have intercession for me. La. Abu Hurairah one time said, Ya Rasulullah, men as'adu nas bi shafa'ati yawm al-qiyamah. Which one of us will have the most right for you to step forward to make intercession for us yawm al-qiyamah? Which one of us in this masjid, from the companions, from right now, who has the most rights? He said, Abu Hurairah, I didn't think anyone would ask me that question before you. That's an intelligent question. And when I saw you being busy with learning the hadith, my hadith, I saw you being prolific and uppermost, learning, especially the sunnah. You're memorizing more, better than anyone else. So I assume, and I'm an intelligent person, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the natural result of the way you are with the sunnah is that you'll be the first one to ask such an intelligent question. And then he answered. He said, As'adu nas bi shafa'ati yawm al-qiyamati man qala la ilaha illallah khalis min qalbi. The one who has the most right to get my intercession yawm al-qiyamah is the one who says la ilaha illallah with total ikhlas. Total ikhlas. What he does, what he says, what he doesn't do, what he doesn't say, everything about him is not to show off to the people. It is for the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jalla. To make Allah please. Like it, who like it, dislike it, who dislikes it. He doesn't want to offend, but his existence is the existence of a muwahid. That's the one who will get the intercession. That's the one who will get the Jannah. The one who has ikhlas towards Tawheed. The one who has knowledge about Tawheed. The one who has a sidq and he believes in Tawheed. The individual who makes inqiyad and he works by the Tawheed and so forth. It's just not wishful thinking. That's the point. That's the point. So what are the things? What are the things? 4 things we want to mention that come from a hadith connected to Ramadan from al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But before that, in an authentic hadith that was collected by Imam Ahmed in his Musnad as well as an Imam At-Tirmidhi, Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that Rasulullah said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, taslimin kathira, إن في الجنة غرفا يرى ظاهرها من باطنها وباطنها من ظاهرها أعدها الله تعالى لمن أطعم الطعام وألان الكلام وتاب الصيام وصلى بالليل والناس نيام. He said, verily in the Jannah there are some rooms that are special. He said these rooms, if you're standing outside of these rooms, you can see the inside of the room from the outside. And if you happen to be on the inside of the room, although it has walls and things like that, still you have the ability to see the beauty of what's outside of the room. Because it's special. It's a special issue. If you're on the outside, you can see in. And if you're on the inside, you can see out. Allah knows the reality of that. But we ask him by his Ism al-A'zam to make us the participants and the recipients of those rooms. He said these rooms have been prepared for people who do 4 things. All of them connected to Ramadan, but not specific to Ramadan. They should be a part of the repertoire of the Muslim, his existence, something he should focus on. He said they have been prepared for the people who feed other people food. They're the people who, when they speak, they're gentle and they're easy when they talk to people. Number 3, they're the people who continuously fast. And number 4 is for the people who pray during the nighttime when the other people are sleeping. When the majority of the people are sleeping. Again, we want to repeat that hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, those 4 things. Allah has prepared their special rooms in al-Jannah, those special rooms for 4 individuals, people who do 4 things. All of them have been legislated in the month of Ramadan, highlighted in the month of Ramadan. The emphasis on them in the month of Ramadan is greater than outside of Ramadan. And Ramadan, as you all know, is a month of tadreeb. It's a month of learning things and doing things that should carry you on in terms of good deeds after Ramadan. The people who feed other people. Number 2, the people who are gentle and easy in their speech. Number 3, the people who fast continuously. And number 4, those individuals who pray while the people are sleeping. Each one of these 4 things, Ikhwani, has a lot of issues that can be discussed concerning them. But we just want to briefly mention. In our religion, al-Islam, you won't find another group of people, ummah, community. You won't find a community of people who feeding it has such a prominent place in their society or in their religion the way al-Islam puts emphasis on feeding people. In Ramadan and outside of Ramadan, when I lived in this area in Keithley, and other than this area, in Arabia, but in this area specifically, everyone here knows, like if you're a revert in this area, you're going to be exposed to the Muslims. And if you're exposed to the Muslims, Arabs, Africans, Asians, you're going to be the recipient of their hospitality. When I was a Christian, I don't remember, other than my relatives, going to people's homes to have dinner and things like that. except if it was Christmas or Thanksgiving or Easter, something like that. But if you're a revert, if you're a Muslim, you're going to be exposed to other people who are inviting you because it's part of what our religion is telling people to do. And when Allah Azza wa Jal chose Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from amongst the Arabs, one of the wisdoms in that is that the Arabs had some cultural things that Al-Islam came and said, these are from the best characteristics that people should inculcate within themselves and their culture. And from them, it'amu ta'am, feeding people food. To do it has a lot of reward in the Quran and the Sunnah, and not to do it out of stinginess has some price to pay. That's negative. Too much to be said. Allah Ta'ala mentioned, look at all of the rewards just for feeding people. And just one surah of the Quran, Surah Al-Insan, Hal ata al-insan, hinun min ad-dahi, lam yakun shay'in madhkura. In that surah, Allah mentioned, وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شَكُورًا إِنَّا نَخَافُ مِنْ رَبِّنَا يَوْمًا عَبُوسًا قَمْطَرِيرًا فَوَقَاهُمُ اللَّهُ شَرَّ ذَلِكَ الْيَوْمِ وَلَقَّاهُمْ نَضْرَةً وَسُرُورًا وَجَزَاهُمْ بِمَا صَبَرُوا جَنَّةً وحريرا متكئين فيها على الأرائك لا يرون فيها شمسا ولا زمهريرا ودانية عليهم ظلالها وذللت قطوفها تذليلا. All of those rewards Allah described, he said, those people who feed other people because they feed other people, although they themselves, they love the food, but despite that they feed other people. Allah said that they say to the people they feed, we only feed you liwajhillah, because of Allah, with ikhlas. We are afraid of our Lord of a day where there's a terror and a grievous punishment. Allah said because of that, Allah Azza wa Jal has protected them from the evil of that day. Allah will make their faces illuminated and will give them happiness. Allah will reward them on that particular day with Jannah and Harir. The Jannah in this ayat are those rooms. As Imam Ibn Kathir brought all of those ahadith that we mentioned earlier in some of the other ayat. So Allah Azza wa Jalla will put them in that Jannah. They will recline in the Jannah on couches and they will have felicity and ease. And close to them will be, like the grapes, the qutuf. When the grapes come down on the grapes, any fruit, when they come down in their clusters, the person he doesn't have to move. All he has to do is pick it off of the tree. They're going to be shading him and they're going to be low to him. And then Allah Ta'ala went on to mention maybe 15 other descriptions of the individual who is feeding. So in the month of Ramadan, one of the most important aspects of Ramadan, that we want to remind you of, is the aspect of being an individual who's responsible for putting some dates in the masjid so that the people can break their fast off of your dates. Especially the people who at some point, they weren't fasting. They were 20, 21, 25. There was a time some Ramadans went past them, they missed it. Rasulullah mentioned sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, man fattara as-sa'ima kana lahu ajr mithlu ajr as-sa'im min ghayri an yanqus ajruhu shay'a. Anyone who breaks the fast of someone else, Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, the individual will get the reward of his fast. It didn't say the one who invited everybody and gave them a big meal. It said the one who broke his fast. So if an individual was the one who was responsible for putting the dates down, putting the water down, he purchased the water. He's the one who's on that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in this masjid, for an example, he's going to spend £500, whatever it costs, and he's going to have a community iftar. Everybody who broke his fast, he'll get the reward, and that's one of the ways of making tawbah for the fast that he missed in the past. It's almost impossible to remember how many prayers he didn't make when he wasn't praying. It's impossible. How do you calculate? It may be extremely difficult to calculate how many fasts did he miss in Ramadan and other than Ramadan. Because when he broke one day of Ramadan in the past intentionally, now he has to free a slave. If he can't free a slave, he has to feed 60 people. He has to feed 60 people. He can't do that. He has to fast 60 days consecutively. He can't keep up with that. How many days does he owe for Ramadan? It's difficult. one of the things to try to offset that is being an individual who's responsible for feeding other people. Concerning being stingy and not feeding people in the religion, in Surah Al-Mudaththir, Allah mentioned about the discussion that's going to take place with people in the knot of Jannah. And they will be asked the question, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ? Why and how did you people wind up in the saqar, in the knot of Jahannam? What got you here? They will say, لَمْ نَكُمْ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We weren't of the people who used to pray. وَلَمْ نَكُمْ نُطْعِمْ الْمَسَاكِينَ. We didn't feed the people. We weren't of those people who feed. And we used to disbelieve in the Yawm ad-Din. So not feeding is a problem in our religion. So we want to take this opportunity out, wanting to remind you something very important, the brotherhood of Islam. We have some reverts who are not married, and one of the most difficult times to become a Muslim is in the month of Ramadan, especially when the days are long like now. When the days are short, the winter time is easier. But if a person embraces this religion in the month of Ramadan and the days are long right now, it can be a trial for him where he starts to say, I don't know if I made the right decision because I didn't know fasting was this difficult. Allah Azza wa Jal, in the beginning of Islam, the Muslims didn't have to fast in Mecca. But when Prophet Muhammad traveled to Medina, the first year when he got into Medina after the Hijrah, 13 years in Mecca, in the 14th year in Islam when he came to Medina and he saw the Jews fast. He saw the Jews celebrating, not fasting, celebrating, having a party. He said, what are they doing? Why are they celebrating? If he was Hazir Nazir, he wouldn't have asked that question. Every time the Prophet asked a question is because he's not Hazir Nazir. If he knew the ilm al-ghayb, he wouldn't have asked a question. When he would say, whose camel is this? The man would say, that's my camel. If he knew the ilm al-ghayb, he would have known whose camel that is. So every time you pass by a hadith where he's asking a question, he's asking someone, who are you? Where did you come from? What happened? It's a dalil. So how is the person going to insist? The Prophet is going to give me shafa. He's going to insist I'm going to be from the people of Jannah because I'm from this ummah. But the prerequisites of going to the Jannah, the prerequisites of being the shafa, you don't meet them because you don't have that correct iman and that correct understanding. He sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam did not have the ilm of the unknown, only what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the ability to know. That's it. And the malaika are the same way. So it's really important, Ikhwani, that we understand that particular issue. So concerning that, when he went to Medina, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, well, what are they doing? They said, Ya Muhammad, this is the day that we Jews celebrate because Allah saved Musa over Fir'aun. So the Prophet told his companions, Nahnu ahaqqu bi Musa minhum. We have more right to Musa than them. We're closer to Musa and Isa and the prophets than them. So he said, we're going to fast. They're partying and having a good time. We're going to fast. So he told his companions, fast. So everybody fasted. The fast of Ashura, fasting 3 levels in Islam. The fasting of Ashura was wajib. Just you pray, you fast on the 10th, and that was it. He told them, if I live, I'm going to fast more. So that's how he fasted at first. And then after that, some months went by, fasting was made mustahab. If someone wanted to fast, he could fast. And if he didn't want to fast, he just pays the fidya. He feeds one person who's hungry. That's all he had to do. But he didn't have to fast. It was up to you. If you want to fast, you fast. And if you didn't want to fast, you just feed a poor person. And that's the meaning of the ayah in the Quran. فَمَنْ تَطَوَّى خَيْرًا فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ وَأَنْ تَصُومُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Anyone who wants to give, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يَطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ. Anyone who has the ability, then he should feed the poor person. For every day you missed the fast. That was the second one. And then the second year of the Hijrah. After the second year, Allah revealed that you had to fast in the month of Ramadan. In the month of Ramadan. So those were the 3 levels of fasting in al-Islam. And why did Allah do it like that? And this is the point. Allah did it like that, ikhwani, because Allah is gentle and Allah is easy and He wants good for everybody here. He doesn't want to make things difficult for anyone. He doesn't want to make things difficult for the rich, for the poor, the Arab, the non-Arab, the old, the young, Muslim, non-Muslim. And the Sunnah people who are trying to teach this religion, wherever they are, the Sunnah, we understand that, the more effective our da'wah is going to be in this country. Muslim patrol, they don't understand that. People want to stab policemen and soldiers in the middle of the street, don't understand that. The mother, the father, he has to understand. Allah wants things easy for your kids. The Imam of this masjid, the Imam. If he doesn't understand that Allah wants things easy for this community, he's going to make problems. The administration, on the day of Jummah, the Imam is going to give the khutbah, and he's going to give the khutbah for 3 hours. And he expects us to sit there. He wants to pray, and he's going to pray Salatul Jummah with Surah Al-Baqarah. No, you have to know in that audience, there's a man praying on the chair. In the audience, someone has to go to work. In the audience, there's a lady up there with a child and issues like that. So Allah Ta'ala legislated everything in this religion gradually, the tadarruj. Because if a person is not used to the thing, it's going to be difficult. Aisha said, if Allah made khamr, sharab, haram, one time, one go, the Arabs would have left Islam because it was a part of their culture. Slavery. If the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would have come to those Arabs and abolished slavery just like that because of the way they were doing it, it's a problem, it was bad, it's a good. If he came and just abolished it just like that, it's going to be problems because part of the economic life was built upon slavery. So in Islam, in the legislation of Islam, change is not made overnight. There's tadarruj. And that's what Allah Ta'ala did with all of the arkan of al-Islam. Tawheed, 13 years he was in Mecca, he just called to La ilaha illallah. That's it. He told Mu'adh ibn Jabal, Mu'adh, you're going to the people from Al-Kitab, make the first thing you call them to La ilaha illallah. If they do that, then tell them they have to pray. If they do that, then tell them they have to give zakat. So when we're giving da'wah, we don't start with the most difficult thing. You don't start to learn the most difficult thing in the religion. You don't go into the most difficult aspects of this religion. So the point, ikhwani, the individual who is a brand new Muslim in this religion, if you know him, in the month of Ramadan, we should exhibit the brotherhood of Islam by supporting those individuals and also remembering, unlike you, he doesn't have people we can go home to break his fast with that same feeling that you have. So I encourage you and I advise you, take those individuals that you know and help those reverts out, especially those people you know are living by themselves, individuals who don't have the ability to have that sweetness of the taste of Ramadan. If you know those individuals, then be of the people who provide for them, especially here in the masjid. Be of those people who get that reward. The second issue is the issue of when people are gentle and easy with their speech. There's a companion, ikhwani, his name was Abdullah ibn Sufyan. May Allah be pleased with him. He asked Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, ma akhwaf shay tarshahu alayya. What is the thing that you fear for me more than anything else? What are you afraid for me more than anything else? He told him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, akhsha alayk hada. I'm afraid of this more than anything else concerning you. In the month of Ramadan, especially, if the individual is not taking responsibility for what he's saying and the way he's acting, then the Ramadan, it comes and it goes, and we really don't get the real benefit of the Ramadan. He told the people, لَيْسَ الصِّيَامِ مِنَ الشُّرْبِ مِنَ الْأَكْلِ وَالشُّرْبِ وَإِنَّمَا الصِّيَامِ مِنَ اللَّغْوِ وَالرَّفْثِ وَإِنْ سَابَكَ أَحَدٌ فَقُلْ إِنِّي صَائِمٌ مَرَّتَيْنِ. He said fasting is not abandoning your food and your drink. That's not fasting. Right now, no one's eating and no one's drinking. Right now. Are we fasting? Linguistically, we're fasting because fasting means to leave something. Linguistically, it means to leave something. Al-Turk, al-Imsak, al-Imtina, al-Kuf, to leave something. Maryam said, Inni nadartu lirrahmani soma, فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمِ إِنْسِيًّا. When Jibril came and told her you're going to have a child with a miracle, she said, today, I have taken an oath to Ar-Rahman that I'm going to fast, meaning I'm not going to talk to anybody. Zakaria in the Quran, fasting is always connected to big things that are happening in the Quran. Zakaria fasted, Maryam fasting, connected to big issues. So the point is, she said, I'm going to fast. She didn't talk. She didn't mean I'm not going to eat food and drink. She said, I'm going to fast. I'm going to refrain from speaking. The Prophet said, that's not fasting. Fasting is not from the food and the drink. He said, fasting, real fasting, is abandoning a level and a rough. Real fasting is abandoning acting foolishly, acting inappropriately, and being wooed. That's fasting. Right now, from the wisdom of Allah, you know, He always tests the believers. He gives a test to the believers. He allowed the World Cup to be on right now. Back in America, when I became a Muslim in the month of Ramadan, and we grew up on basketball, not soccer, but basketball. We used to come in the month of Ramadan and going home to watch the playoffs, the basketball. It was a big trial to have a choice: would I make Taraweeh or would I watch the basketball game? Do I watch the World Cup or do I take advantage of Taraweeh, the dunya or the hereafter? Allah is from His hikmah, He made it right now. So the one who is watching the World Cup during this time, that's from a level, that's from what is a problem. But the real emphasis here is the hadith. The second part of the hadith is said, if anyone argues with you while you're fasting, then you should say to that person, hey, I'm fasting. And that goes to show the responsibility that the person has in terms of getting his tongue together. Getting his tongue together during the month of Ramadan. Because again, if he's an individual who's using foul language, and he's an individual who's being abrasive and argumentative, if he's an individual who's swearing and cursing and he's fighting, if he's an individual who's making ghiba and namima, it's a problem. There's a problem. The control of the tongue is the biggest fitna of Bani Adam in terms of disciplines. The big fitna. From a person's good Islam, mind your own business. That's what the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Having control of the tongue is just a major issue for most people. And that's why the Prophet said, and he guaranteed, he said, "Man ya'min li, aw yudmin li, ma bayna lihyahi wa ma bayna rijlayhi admin lahu al-Jannah. Udmin lahu al-Jannah." Anyone who can guarantee me that he's going to take control, take care of what's between his jawbones, meaning if you can guarantee me you'll take care of your tongue, you can guarantee me you'll take care of your desires, he said, I'll guarantee you that you'll go to Jannah. So if you can guarantee Jannah, then clearly if you can take care of those two things in the month of Ramadan, he can guarantee you that you'll have a successful Ramadan. But the individual who's fasting in the month of Ramadan is not taking care of his tongue, it's a problem. So the hadith said, those rooms in Jannah are for the one who makes his speech easy. Easy with his mother, with his father, with his wife, with his children, with the people around him, not swearing, not cursing. If he's one of those people who are not on that, it's a problem. Al-Layn, Alana, Al-Kalam. Alana, Layn, he makes the kalam or the speech easy. That's one of the recipients of the Jannah. Allah used that same word in that hadith, when he sent Musa and Harun to Fir'aun, and he said to them, اذهبا إلى فرعون فقولا له قولا لينا لعله يتذكر ويخشى. You two go to Fir'aun and say to him a statement that is layyin. Say to him some kalam that is easy. That's Fir'aun. If anyone deserves to be spoken to in a rough and tough way, it's him. So one of the amazing things that we have this time, especially with people who are giving dawah, I want to call the people to the sunnah. So I say to the brother, man, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to take a sutra, you have to do this. He doesn't agree with me. So I say, may Allah break your back. May Allah break your back. You're an innovator, you're this, you're that. This is not dawah, it's not like that. The Prophet's lisan, it wasn't like that. If anything, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to make dua for the hidayah of people. And one time, he became angry because of what some of the non-Muslims were doing. And he was praying the Fajr prayer, and he says, Sami Allah liman hamida, and then he raised his hand and he started saying, oh Allah, curse this one, oh Allah, curse that one. And he was naming them by their names in the Salat of al-Fajr, out loud. And the companions were saying, Ameen, Ameen. And he was saying, curse al-Harith ibn Aqwa, and curse that one, and curse this one, and curse that one. After he finished the Salat, Allah Ta'ala revealed some ayahs of the Quran. لَيْسَ لَكَ مِنَ الْأَمْرِ شَيْءٍ أَنْ يَتُوبُ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ أَمْ لَا. You don't have anything to do with it, Ya Muhammad. If Allah guides him or not, if Allah forgives him or not, don't curse these people like that. And then Allah Azza wa Jalla, instead of cursing those people, Allah Azza wa Jalla guided them to Islam. The ones that the Prophet was cursing, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was a clear proof, an indication, ikhwani. Allah is the one who guides. Everything is with Allah, not with Prophet Muhammad as a human being, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They did bad things to him. They broke his head open. They gave a wound, broke his head, knocked his tooth out. He said, how can a group of people who broke their prophet's head open and knocked his tooth out, how can they ever be successful? Allah revealed the ayah. You have nothing to do with the issue, Ya Muhammad. Allah used to threaten Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah, the Khaliq, used to threaten the Makhluq. Allah would threaten him and tell him, if you almost were inclined to do what they wanted you to do. But if you would have done it, we would have taken you by your right. We would have snatched you up. And there are many ayat of the Quran like that. So the Prophet ﷺ, he is the Sayyid of Bani Adam. He is the best of Allah's creation. He is all of that. But he doesn't deserve to be given powers and abilities beyond what Allah Azza wa Jalla gave him. Allah made him Abdullah. Allah made him Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Number 3, ikhwani, they fast consistently. This hadith, it can clearly mean the month of Ramadan where people are fasting consistently, 29 days straight, 30 days straight. It also means the person who's fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, the person who follows up Ramadan with 6 days of Shawwal. He's a faster. That's just his program. Allah made those rooms for him in the Jannah. So fasting 29 days, 30 days in the month of Ramadan puts him in the position. The companion Abu Usamah radiallahu anhu, he came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, dulluni ala shay'in ala amalin adkhulu bil Jannah. Guide me to something that if I did it, I'll go into the Jannah. Well, what can I do? Out of all of the things that he mentioned, he could have told him establish the khilafah, make jihad fi sabilillah. He could have told him birru walidain. He said, alayka bis-sawm fa innahu la mathila lahu. I advise you to fast because there's nothing like fasting. There's nothing like fasting, ya Aba Umama. You want to go to Jannah? That's an action that will get you into Jannah and get you some of those rooms. He said about that Jannah, as everyone knows, inshallah azza wa jal, qala sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, inna fil Jannah babin yuqalu lahu rayyan, yadkhuluhu sa'imun yawm al-qiyamah, wa la yadkhuluhu ghayruhum, wa la yadkhuluhu ahadun ghayruhum, wa idha dakhalu ughliqa. In the paradise, there is a door that is called the door of Rayyan. It is for those people who fast. And the hadith, people who fast, it could be that they fast the month of Ramadan correctly. They do it correctly with the suhoor, delaying it, the iftar, what you're supposed to do. And clearly if they're doing more than that, then they're going to that door. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, once they go into the door will be locked, no one else will be able to get in there. Now if you can just imagine for a minute, and there are many doors of a Jannah, many doors, different doors of a Jannah. The lady who obeys her husband, she prays 5 times a day, she fasts the month of Ramadan, she will be given the opportunity to enter into any of the 8 doors of a Jannah that she wants to go into. So these doors are special, they're for special people. So concerning the fasters or any one of those doors, a person fasted the month of Ramadan only. He didn't fast other times. He just fasted Ramadan the correct way. He's entitled to enter into that door. So if you can imagine, Those of us who have children, you have your baby, the day your baby is born and you're working and you come to see your baby after they cleaned your baby up, and you get to the place and your baby is on the other side of the door and the door is locked and you can't get into the room to see your baby, you're going to feel a particular way. You're hungry, you go to eat something, a nice meal with water, succulent juice, all that stuff. You come to the door's locked, you can't get in. You're going to feel a certain type of way. Get into an argument with your child, your son, your daughter. They go into the room, they slam the door. You go behind them to open up the door is locked. All of those scenarios, Prophet Muhammad is on the other side of the door, you want to get in, you can't get in. All of those scenarios, you're not going to have a good feeling. The people of Jannah, they're going to be in Jannah, but that door, they can't get into that door. Jannah, they don't have anger, they don't have animosity, they don't have jealousy, they don't have hasad, they don't have that. But the person has a tamanni. He's going to wish I could have been in that door. One of the ways to get into that door is to fast correctly in the month of Ramadan. The one who fasts Ramadan correctly will get into that door. Whereas the one who doesn't fast Ramadan correctly, and he fasts the 6 days of Shawwal, every Monday, every Thursday, Ashura, 9, 10, 11, he does all of that. He fasts a lot in Muharram. No, that one who fasted Ramadan correctly is better than the other one who didn't do the thing the right way. So fasting, ikhwani, there is no ibadah similar to the ibadat of Islam, because again, it shows the emphasis and the importance of at-tawheed. And our religion is a religion of at-tawheed. Kullu amal ibn Adam lahu illa as-sawm fa innahu li wa ana ajzi bi. Allah said all of the deeds of Adam are for himself. This is a deed of giving dawah. I'm giving dawah right now and people are watching me. Your coming to the masjid is a deed. But people are watching you. Who's here, who's not here. When you pray, people are watching you. When you make Hajj and Umrah, people are doing it with you. Everything, people are watching you doing it. But the fast, Allah said, that's for me, and I'm going to reward that fast. And why is it so special? Again, the emphasis is on at-tawheed, al-ikhlas, between you and Allah. And no one else has anything to do with it. No one. The last issue, ikhwani, that was mentioned, and really I think that a special class should be given concerning this, is that the people, they pray during the night when the other people are sleeping. They pray during the night when the other people are sleeping. One of the things about this issue, very quickly, you should know, Abdullah, you should know, Qiyamul Layl, it begins right after Salat al-Isha. So any prayer that you make after Salat al-Isha is Qiyamul Layl. And that's because the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many hadith, let the Salat al-Witr, which is from the nighttime, let it be the last prayer that you pray. And you say, pray it after Isha. So Qiyamul Layl, Salat al-Layl, it begins right after Salat al-Isha. During these days, right now, during these days where we have this problem with the horizon and the sun and all that kind of stuff, then clearly, after Salat al-Isha is Qiyamul Layl. He prayed Salat al-Maghrib with his companions, and after that he got up, he went into his house, and they said, let's stay here and wait until Isha. He came back out. He said, have you people been here since Maghrib? Because he saw so many people, and they didn't move. Have you been here since Maghrib? He said, yeah. They say yes. He said, ahsantum, you did good. Again, if the Prophet had the ilm al-ghayb, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if he was Hazir Nazir, he wouldn't have said, have you people been here? Hazir Nazir, his house is right there, connected to the masjid. He goes into that house, the people are sitting, he doesn't know, and they're next to his house. He doesn't know. He comes back out. Have you been here? And look how close he is, and you're telling us he's Hazir Nazir, and you're insisting Hazir Nazir, wallahi Hazir Nazir. And if you don't believe that, something's wrong with you. No, if you believe that, Akhi, if you believe that, wallahi, you're going to make yourself in a position that you don't want to be in. You're going to make yourself in a position where you won't get shafa'ah. You won't get it because you're bringing something to the table that the Prophet spent 23 years trying to destroy shirk and kufr and innovation and ghulu and going overboard. He was against that. Those people said, yeah, our master, the son of our master, yo, come out, Ya Muhammad, raising him up, bigging him up. He said, hey, don't say that to me. I'm Abdullah, Rasulullah. Just say Abdullah. Don't say all of that. Cut that out. Just call me Abdullah. I'm Abdullah, I'm Rasulullah. Don't give me all of that. The man came, when he met Rasulullah for the first time, he was shaking. You can see his throat shaking in front of the Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, hey, I'm not a king. I'm just a man from the desert, from Mecca, whose mother used to eat simple food. Relax, sit down, calm down. He didn't make people feel in awe of him. The companions felt the awe that we feel if a big scholar came through the door. The awe that you feel when an elder person from your family, your uncle, someone comes to the door. They had that respect, but that thing that the people have today, Hazar Nazar didn't die, doesn't have his shadow, he knows everything, ilm al-ghayb. Hey, what are you talking about? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to his companions, "Lola anni akhsha in yashuq alayk, laja'altu salat al-isha fi muntasaf al-layl." He said, if it wasn't for the fact that I thought it would be difficult for you people, I would have made salat al-isha at the middle of the night time. He said, but it would be too difficult. The middle of the night is you take salat al-isha when it comes in, salat al-fajr when it comes in, you take those hours. That's the middle of the night. So now Isha comes in Birmingham about 11 o'clock. Fajr comes in 3 o'clock, something like that. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So the middle of that is Muntasaf al-Layl. The Prophet said, if I wasn't afraid, it would be difficult for you. So he didn't want to make people pray at 2 o'clock at night. The point is, he praised those companions because they were sitting there at a time when Salat was difficult. They stayed in the masjid. Anytime you are doing something that a lot of people are not doing, Allah loves that thing. Take that as a principle, Ya Abdullah. You want to look for the deeds to do? Anytime people are doing, there's a time or place where people are not doing something and it's correct to do that thing, it's from Islam, from the Sunnah, try to do it because Allah loves it. If you're praying late at night when people are sleeping, Allah loves it because you're one of the few people who are doing that. Allah comes down at the last third of the night. He'll give anyone who's up at that time, making salat, making tawbah, istighfar, he'll give them why? Because it's a time when most people are not doing something. He said that the people who are the ghuraba, they're going to go to Jannah. Who are the ghuraba? They're the people who, he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they're the minority. They're the few people who are trying to make things correct when most of the people messed them up. So someone wants to be like in the communities, he's trying to help. There's a problem. He's trying to help the situation. He's from the few. So if there's some project, something that's going on, and only a few people are doing it, only a few people are serving the people the food, be of those people. Allah loves it when you're doing something that's like Sha'ban. Usamah said, Ya Rasulullah, why do you fast Sha'ban more than any other month outside of Ramadan? He said, because Sha'ban is a month that many people don't know the importance of it. So I fasted this month. And he spoke the truth. He fasted most of Sha'ban. Some hadith in Bukhari Muslim said he fasted all of Sha'ban. Because it's a month not many people know about. If you go to the marketplace in Khwani, here downtown, city center, there is a dua, any marketplace. Simple, easy dua. He said anyone who goes to the bazaar, to the souk, if he says the simple, easy dua, La ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, yuhyi wa yumit, wa huwa hayyun la yamut, biyadihi al-khayr, wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Anyone who says that simple dua, Allah will give him 1 million hasana. Allah will take off of him 1 million sins. Allah will give him 1 million darajat. And Allah will build him a house in Jannah. Why all of that stuff for such a simple, easy dua that can be said in less than 15 seconds? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulku wa lahul hamd yuhyi wa yumitu hayyun la yamut biyadihi al-khayr wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Before going into the marketplace, why does he get all that? 1 million hasana, 1 million sayyi'ah taken off, 1 million darajah in Jannah and a house in Jannah. Well, why just for that? That's because in the marketplace, most of the people going into the marketplace, they're not remembering Allah, most of the people in the marketplace doing the wrong thing. Most of the people in the marketplace are compromising their religion and so forth and so on. So the general rule is, if a lot of people are not doing that thing, then try to engage yourself in that thing. And from them is salat at the night time. And from that salat, Tarawih. At-Tarawih, Ikhwani, the hadith said, those houses in Jannah for the people who pray when the people are sleeping. This Ramadan is going to be tough. Wallahu a'lam. After praying Salat al-Isha, Tarawih, you go home, no time to sleep, you have to wake up for suhoor, and you have to go to work or whatever. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. That's how it is. But I would encourage you in terms of an incentive. Just remember, there are rooms in Jannah for the people who pray Tarawih. For the people who pray after the nighttime. Not to mention other stuff. Those of us who were not praying, we didn't pray 17, 18, 20 sometimes of our lives, we were not praying. 3 years, 5 years, we were not praying. Prophet said, Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah will say to the Malaik, and he already knows, look at the salat of my slave. Did he complete them or not? If he completed them, it will be written for him complete. If he didn't complete them, Allah will say to the Malaika, see about the salat of my slaves from the tatawwa, from the other prayers. 2 rakats to the masjid, tarawih, wudu, whatever. Allah will say, take the prayers, those other prayers, and complete what he was deficient in. And all of the deeds will be like that. For the fast that he didn't do, when he missed it, after the salat is done, the salat is like, the siyam is like that. Look at the Ramadan of my slave. Is it complete or not? If it's complete, written down completely. Not complete, Allah say, look at the other fast that he did. He caused so many people to break their fast. He himself, he fast days of Hajj and so forth and so on. So those of us who did not pray at one time, stay in the Tarawih, because the Tarawih has too many benefits connected to it. But we've spoken more than an hour, so we're going to put the lid on this reminder, asking Allah Azza wa Jalla to allow us to get the most out of Ramadan and not to allow Ramadan and go without us being of those people who have been forgiven. And Allah, Rabbi wa Rabbukum is A'la and A'la. Okay, if you guys have any questions, inshallah, you can put your question forward for the next few minutes until my man Bashara says we have to stop. Bashara, you the boss here? Who's the boss here? Do you brothers have any questions concerning what we mentioned, or maybe general questions about Ramadan even? What's your name? Abbas. Abbas. I always forget Abbas, although I know you.
Them conditions that you mentioned, do you have to fulfill all of them conditions to get the rooms, or say just go that one particular one?
Good question, Akhi Abbas. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam mentioned Allah prepared the rooms for the people who do these 4 things. So do you have to do all 4 of them? Or if you do one of them, then that's sufficient, 2 or 3. Do you have to fulfill all of them? There are those people from the scholars who said you have to do all of them. Because that's what he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when you look at each and every one of them, there are too many other proofs and ayat that come in the Quran and the Sunnah that show if you do that thing by itself, you'll get the reward of al-Jannah. Like those ayahs we mentioned about feeding, like those ayahs that we mentioned about fasting, like those ayahs that we mentioned about those people who control their tongues and so forth and so on. Good question, Akhi Abbas. Any more questions, Ikhwani?
Brother, is there any different delegate of reward for a fast? For example, if it's a hard fast, you've had a lot of trouble during the day.
Good question, Akhi. What's your name? Zaid. Concerning the question of Brother Zaid, are there different darajat, different in terms of the thawab and the ajur? Is it all the same, or is it different? No doubt, there's a principle in Islam that comes to us from the authentic Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he said, "Innama al-jaza'u ala qadr and nasab. Verily, a person's reward will be determined by the difficulty that he goes through. So the individual who lives right across the street from the masjid and he walks 10 steps does not get the reward of the individual who's walking 100 steps or 200 steps and so forth and so on. The individual who is going to fast in Africa, for an example, where it's extremely hot and they don't have the ease that we have in this country, it definitely is going to be more difficult. The individual who's fasting longer hours is going to be different from the ones who's fasting shorter hours. The people who are fasting right now with what's going on, the summertime, he has to work, he has to fajr and isha and all of that jihad that we're going to have to do, then obviously it's going to be more reward. Provided the individual doesn't make it difficult for himself. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, someone makes the religion difficult on himself. He wants to fast consecutive days without breaking his fast. No, you don't get the reward because you're making things difficult on yourself. The individual, he wants to pray all night long. He doesn't want to get married. He wants to be too tough. The one who makes it unnecessarily difficult upon himself, then he's not rewarded because he's been prohibited from doing that. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah doesn't burden you beyond your ability. Do what you can do. La taqtulu anfusakum. Inna Allah kana bikum rahima. Don't kill yourselves. Allah was forever gentle to you. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu used to read the Quran in one night and Qiyam al-Layl, and he used to fast every single day. Now I can't imagine it. That whole Quran in one day and fast every day. When the Prophet heard about that, he said, "What's this I hear about you? Reading the Quran every day and fasting every night and forsaking your women." If he was Hazir, Nazir, if he was Ilm al-Ghayb, he wouldn't have said that. He said, "Are you doing that?" He said, "Yes, Ya Rasulullah." He said, "Don't do that." He said, "Read the Quran once in a month." He said, "I could do more." He said, "Then read it in 20 days." "I could do more." "Then read it in 12 days." He said, "I could do it more." "Do it in 10. You can do more. Do it in 7. Do it in 5. And don't do it in less than that." And about your fasting, he said, "Just fast 3 days." I can do more. All the way till he made him do the fast of Dawood, 1 day on, 1 day off. And he did that. 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day on, 1 day off. It's the best fast. But when he became old, he was infirm. He couldn't see. He was weak. And he told the students from the Tabi'een, "Oh, I wish I would have taken the advice of Rasulullah ﷺ, because that ibadah, look what it did to me. It destroyed me now." So the more difficulty that a person is going through, the more reward. Asa an takru shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum. And maybe you hate something and it's better for you, like these long hours. So you revert, brothers, be patient, be patient, be patient. Any more questions, Ikhwan? Akhi Abu Safia.
Regarding children, the difficult and ease in Ramadan, especially the long hours and everything, at what point do you start encouraging them to engage in fasting?
Who, the kids, you said? Certainly encouraging our kids to fast. The scholars of Islam, Ikhwani, they said that fasting is obligatory upon the person who's a Muslim. So the one who's a non-Muslim, like our people who are doing interfaith dialogue. Two extremes. One extreme in this country are the people who want to blow everything up and kill everybody. They want to blow everything up, they want to kill everybody. Rough and tough. The other extreme are those Muslims who are apologetic. In Birmingham, they said the schools in Birmingham, we have extremists in our schools. Do they mean extremists who are blowing things up? No. They mean extremists because they say boys sit over here, girls sit over here. You're extreme. Because in art, the Muslim teacher said, I don't want you people to draw the private parts of this stuff and don't draw images. You're extreme. You taught the kid when he goes to the bathroom to make his stinja with water. You're extreme. So here comes the Muslim with the BBC and they say, hey, you're a parent. What do you think? And the parent says, yeah, I don't know why they're so extreme like that. Why don't they just put in this British values and mix everybody up? Don't be extreme like that either. Don't apologize about the religion. So we can't invite non-Muslims, come with us and fast with us. Come with us and make salat with us. Because only the Muslim is the one who fasts. The one who is aqil, not crazy, and the one who was baligh, he's old enough. Baligh, the scholars say baligh. What is baligh? Mature. For the boy, 3 things have to be there. For the girl, 4 things. And this is the point. 3 things have to be there, 4 for the girl. They say baligh, 15 years old. That's when the kid should be fasting. He has to fast. That's balugh. Or if the boy or the girl has hair growing, that's balugh. Number 3, the boy can have a dream from his desires. The girl can have a dream from her desires. And then the 4th thing with the girl is her period, barakallahu fikum. But despite that, 15, the scholars said, if he doesn't get hair and all that stuff, but some of the scholars, most of them say, but just like salah, you should put pressure on them to fast when they're 10, because the companions, radiallahu anhum, they used to encourage their children to fast, and they would be in the masjid waiting for al-maghrib, and the kids would start getting uptight, making noise, and the companion said, we used to give them toys to play with to calm them down. Instead of breaking the fast, we would give them toys to play with in order to calm them down. And Imam Malik, going in his book Al-Muwatta, that some of them